Alright, cheers and welcome my friends, I'm Horath and we are going to be talking about my point of view from the Star Trek New Horizons multiplayer game Clash of the Devs or Clash of the Titans. Alrighty, let's get this party started. So as you know, at the end of last episode we had the Q uniting the galaxy against the Borg. The Beta Quadrant powers actually started their war. They declared war on the Borg, trying to save the Findamar states, and give us some time up there. But we kind of agreed that it wouldn't be all that great if the MP just ended in a way, because 12 versus 1 is heavy, even if someone is playing the Borg. And we actually did a bit of diplomacy, my Dominion ally and me, and we talked with the Borg. And what we came up with was we were gonna switch spiral arms. He was gonna give us the stuff in the spiral arm that he had taken from us. He was gonna get the one planet that we had taken in his spiral arm, and that would basically ensure that we wouldn't have any conflict in the near future. So we were going for a non-aggression pact after getting guarantees that he would pull back out of our spiral arm. That is basically all that we wanted and all that we could hope for, even in a war. Even if we had joined, we might have possibly have been able to kill the Borg player off. It might have happened, but the Borg, the Beta Quadrant actually didn't look all that strong to me. Like, the Klingons are probably the only ones who really had sufficient forces to do things, and if you have a lot of fleets, it takes a lot of coordination and there's a lot of space for failure. The agreement that we had with the Borg was not open, though. It was a tacit agreement or a secret agreement, even a secret contract. So yeah, we didn't tell the Beta Quadrant. But what we did is we sent them regular minerals, trying to boost their war effort. They pieced out rather quickly, because they got their asses whooped by the Borg fleet, who at this point had, I think, between 40 and 60,000 fleet power. So yeah. Even with the United Dominion Vaadwaurian fleet coming from the north, yeah, we could probably have taken out that unit complex over there, but we were going to get that peaceful without having to fight all that much. And I was very keen on getting that one planet back there in the north that had defected to the Talaxians. That just annoyed me. And so yeah, we basically got our spiral arm back in this episode, which makes me very happy. By the way, we're going to have a bonus at the end of the video where I go over my ship designs that I was using in this episode and the new ones that I'm planning on. So if you're interested for that, just hang in there. Right, so we still weren't at the war at this point. We knew we had to declare, though, to not make the Beta Quadrant suspicious. So we're gonna go for that rather soon. I'm expecting that any moment now, that declaration of war. We're sending the transport fleets up north. I mean, you could actually say that we made the problem bigger by not attacking the Borg and going for a non-aggression pact. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. In the long run, it's definitely probably better to wipe out the Borg. But on the other hand, it's very good for the dramatic structure of the game if we all have a big bad. And yeah, there's the war declaration against the Borg that we're preparing. So I'm basically taking all the demands that we had agreed on. So this is more of a pro forma war. It's actually not a hot war in that regard. So we agreed that the Borg would get themselves Gree back in their own spiral arm, and we would get the planets and unit complex in our arm. Now, we gave the Borg player some time so that he could actually evacuate his pops from his planets. That is probably a benefit that caused him to actually honor that pact, because otherwise we could have just taken away all the population that he got from there. I don't think he had enough influence to just pull them all away. Yes, the Borg can build that planet scoop, but they can only do that every 270 days, and it does cost some influence too to do that. So yeah, and if it's their own colony, they can only do that once the population has dropped under a certain threshold, I think 2 pops or something. So that's not all that helpful. Yeah, you can see me sending minerals to the Beta Quadrant. That was not part of the agreement with the Borg, but I thought, I mean, the weaker the Borg get, the better. So helping the war effort of the Beta Quadrant in any way other than really going for a massive attack on the unit complex 1 or something was definitely part of my goal. In the long run, we definitely have to go against the Borg. I just, yeah, 12 versus 1 didn't really feel right. It wasn't really planned that the Q unite the galaxy against them, and they've already apologized and all that. On the other hand, it's kind of fun to see the Q getting spooked. And just hoping that my Dominion player can actually, my Dominion ally can actually catch up. He's been a great help in these wars, but he really seriously needs to build up his territory, because things are not looking all that great. He's still missing out on colonization opportunities. I still have 12 planets in my space that I can colonize at the end of the episode, so we probably have to do that at some point. Yeah, we're just having a cold war. Our fleets are hanging out. We're gonna get some offers for active sensor links from the Beta Quadrant. They want to know what's going on, and we always deny them because we're saying we are isolationist pricks, but really we just didn't want to show them that we're not doing all that much in this war. But, I mean, they were just starting the other war to help us up in the north to make gains, and in the end, their intervention and the intervention of the Q achieved exactly that. Like, the Borg were pushed out of our spiral arm. And that is probably a concession. Yeah, that's definitely a concession that he did not have to make, or would not have had to make, if the Beta Quadrant had not attacked them. So I'm still very thankful for to the Beta Quadrant. We just went about it in a roundabout way. So now I'm taking back Mandel, the planet that ran away to the Talaxians. I'm moving my fleet over there to the Talaxians, who are allied with the Zal and the Krenim, I think. Trying to take all that stuff back. I mean, once it's ours, we're never going to give it up. You can see that I'm still having unrest, but I'm building defense armies on basically every planet. It's difficult in the multiplayer game to micromanage your planets as much as you do in a single player game. So, but your success really depends on it. Like, Stellaris is just a very micromanagement heavy game, even with sectors. Sector AI is still not super clever. For example, I got prisons that keep the unrest low on planets. And I was trying to get I built those on the sectors, but the sector AI always kept moving the pops away from the prisons. Which then increased their unrest, which then was hurting resource production. But the AI was not able to really understand that it needed to reduce the unrest when it's above levels of 50. Like, okay, yeah, we're setting some more Tholian Deem. We have loads of that. In this episode, we also made our defensive pact with the Shiliak kind of overt. We are having a guarantee. He's guaranteeing me, and I'm guaranteeing him. Which is just easier on the influence than a proper defensive pact. The Borg have, I think, no, they still haven't taken back Ree. Right. So we were basically waiting for the go from Shaggo to take back those planets. Something had to happen, but I was happy with the bit of respite. Should have probably continued to just build up the planets. My tech is still not all that bad at this point. I mean, the tech of the Borg is superior because they have fewer planets, and they always get a tech boost when they assimilate someone or if they scoop a planet. So it's very difficult to out-tech the Borg. I guess that's just in the design, but I think we're not doing all that badly in here. Trying to. Oh yeah, the Vidians also were in the coalition over there. No, they actually belong to the Zal. Talaxians did rather well for them because they had Captain Cross in the very first session, accidentally took the Talaxians instead of the Tholians, and that gave them a good start. I mean, not enough to stand against the Borg, but oh well. Would have actually been interesting to see how the Borg could do if someone was playing the Krenim and the other races and really tried to push back against them aggressively early on. Because the early game is where you decide if you're going to be the king of the galaxy with the Borg, or if you're just going to fail miserably. Alright, I'm upgrading all my star bases in a bid to improve my economy, getting that fleet limit up. And this was also the episode where I discovered the synthetic dilithium module on the spaceport that gives you 1 dilithium and therefore 10 fleet power. So that's really interesting because I have a crap ton of spaceports. It's just that it's very expensive. I think it costs like 10 energy to maintain. But having a high fleet limit is always a good thing. So I was definitely striving to make that happen. We're gonna have to have a couple more energy-focused, specialized planets. That's definitely planned. Alright, war with the Talaxians is having a bit of a problem since they're taking back planets in the north while I'm taking planets over there. So at some point I'm just gonna settle, try to get ready to take back those Borg planets. Yeah, we've seen the Borg fleet in that one system and I decided not to go in there. Yeah, now I'm thinking about actually just making peace with the Talaxian. I really should have gone for the humiliate, because the influence would have come in very handy. But oh well. It's fine, I guess I can still go for humiliation wars in the future too. Not only the Borg can use these guys as breeding grounds, I can too. I think the Borg have already taken back Gree at this point, so we're trying to push and take the other things back. And I think we're starting with the unit complex, so now I'm really keen on finishing this whole war thing. We took that one, yeah, and we're out of the war. Moving to the unit complex, trying to take that thing back is what we're planning. Yeah, and I'm desperately micromanaging my planets. You can see that my fleet cap has now improved to 575. That's pretty good. But yeah, we're having a lot of energy credit problems because I'm colonizing a bunch of planets at the same time, and I have built a couple of spaceports without the microfusion reactors and all that. So yeah, I was running very high deficit. But as soon as the colonizations are finished and a couple of buildings are being built, things are going to improve quite a bit. This is also the episode where we're gonna get the battle cruisers. You can see that my fleet power hasn't really moved all that far up. We're at 27k using 500 naval cap. That's actually not all that great. Yep, there I'm designing my first battle cruiser. These guys are, if you're not familiar with the mod, these battle cruisers are basically cruiser variants that are very high on the damage output, but not all that great on the survivability. They have a reduced hull point amount and they have a reduced shield point amount, so you can use them, but I wouldn't recommend using them exclusively just because they do more damage and seem to have more fleet power. Especially against the Borg, I don't think that's a good thing. I've been trying to style my fleet for survivability. Yeah, I'm almost at the cap for minerals, so yeah, I'm still building. But I'm also giving away a lot of minerals. I probably shouldn't have done that since I'm already at 700 fleet cap now. Yeah, I'm trading some with the Sheliak, which is fine. Got a bunch of energy credits for that. I gave some to the Cardassians because they said they wanted some. Cardassia is actually going to have kind of a surprise at the end of this episode. Because they have been attacked by the Delta Quadrant after trying to kill the leader of the Klingon Empire with their special secret service mechanic, where they're using the Obsidian Order. It failed, but it prompted the Klingons to attack them. Plus, the Alpha Quadrant alliance between the Ferengi, the Tholians, and the Cardassians really did nothing against the Borg. They just sat back and said, meh. And even worse, they also conquered more planets while the other guys were fighting the Borg. Which probably made the Beta Alliance rather mad. Right, yeah, I'm just trying to grab as much land and to build my land up inside my space, since I kind of know that I don't have a war at this point. I was trying to use this episode to build up my my space and my fleet as much as possible. Just set my fleet to follow the Dominion fleet, and told my ally to do the whole conquering thingy and all that. So that was taken care of and allowed me to really concentrate on fine-tuning the economy. And I think I did a rather good job. We're definitely going to end this episode stronger, way stronger than we started it. Like, we're going to end at, I think, about 900 fleet limit, and solidly in the plus in both energy and minerals, which is quite good. The only thing that I'm lacking now is influence, and that's completely normal for a mid to end game state in Stellaris. Okay, there's another colony ship trying to colonize more planets, mainly the big ones and the habitable ones for my main race, since I knew that I had to do more energy, more science. That's going to be the main area where I'm trying to improve, because we still have the slaves that are doing well in minerals and food, but not so great in energy and research. So we're gonna push. I'm almost done removing my energy deficit at this point, which makes me really happy. We got rid of that unit complex in our spiral arm. The Dominion is taking those planets. Mandel and the planet in the north, Levant, are our demarcation line at this point. So that's why I'm not colonizing further into that arm, and why the Dominion is getting those planets. I could have probably gotten more out of it, especially since the Dominion is not colonizing those planets then. They're just sitting there, and they're really good planets for me. You can see one is green, one is yellow. But oh well. Oh well. Right, we're just trying to bring this war to an end. Almost done taking that one planet down there. And you can see the fleet power, relative fleet power. Borg are superior to the Dominion and me. No one else is really all that close. Although you can see that the Nyberrites and the Shiliaks have pulled up. Mainly because I haven't really been building ships during this episode. Like, I'm only just starting now to build some battle cruisers. Mainly because I was over the force limit when I started. But now things are heating up. I'm also resettling one of my pops onto that Kravik, or I think Prelor planet. Yeah, I'm moving through the spaceports, trying to see which ones I haven't upgraded yet. Upgraded spaceports also increase your fleet cap, so definitely something that we need. And yeah, research is, I mean, it's still happening. You can see that our research has jumped quite considerably. But I've also settled a bunch of planets, so we have to work a tad to get that back. And compared to the base game in the Star Trek New Horizons... Oh, and yeah, there's the cube. There's the Borg cube. He sent that to scare us. We're almost done taking that planet over there. But yeah, took me a while to realize that I just have to surrender to really get out of this fight. It's going to be interesting, actually. My fleet is damaged from the fight in the unit complex, I guess. And since my fleet is following the Dominion fleet, I'm not able to get out of here. But you can see we're not losing all that fast in that battle, which actually makes me kind of hopeful. Looks like my incessant move towards shields and hull points is actually helping. Yeah, and there we pieced out. And we're going to have at least 10 years of truce. And then we'll see what we can negotiate after that. Just having a look at the cube designs. So yeah, he didn't go for armor at all. But he has very high level stuff already. Like, he's doing really well in terms of tech. So it's going to be difficult to take out the Borg player. We're almost done here at this point. I think in the Alpha Quadrant, the Beta Quadrant has already attacked the Cardassians at this point, I think. I'm just trying to upgrade my fleet at this point and building more battle cruisers, trying to get that fleet up, preparing for the next step in the plan. Sadly, I can't really talk about that, but you can watch my point of view later today. Next session of Clash of the Devs, or Clash of the Titans, is going to be happening later tonight, 21 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the evening, German time. All right. Trying to build more and more battle cruisers, and I'm giving some resources to the Shiliak and the Dominion as a sign of good faith. That's happening. And yeah, getting more research done. We finally got that clinical complex, which should help us grow our pops a little bit faster. Definitely going to need that with all the newly settled planets. All the spaceports are almost built up, and there we are paused. So we're done with this session. Still trying to build a couple of my planets up, but I'm never sure when the game will be saved. So if you try to do too much before the end, it might not make its way into the end save game, since it is being saved by, I think, Shaggo. And then it gets sort of auto-loaded by people. Right, so thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you want to stay for the bonus content, then just wait on. We're going to have a ship design bonus content where I show my old designs and what I'm planning to change them into. And if you want to watch the Clash of the Devs and my point of view, I'm going to be streaming that live at twitch.tv/Horath, or you can watch the Observer point of view on Gulls and Kaden Moraho's channel. So that's a possibility too. And I hope I see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. So, as a bit of a bonus, I wanted to show you the ship designs that we're currently using at the end of this episode, and the ones that I'm planning to change, which is going to give us about 7 to 8k additional fleet power just on our main fleet over here, and should trickle down to the whole the rest of the fleet. So here are my ship designs. The designs that we're currently using are just called its normal name, and the new ones that I'm planning on do have the B. So this is our normal patrol ship. These guys are using still the light antimatter spread. I looked at the tech tree, doesn't seem like these actually have any upgrades, and they're very short range, like 25 range. They're doing good damage and they're ignoring armor. We have been using the nuclear torpedoes and the energy signal dampener. Overall we have 11.63 damage per time unit. Now the new design damage jumps up by, what, 4? I think 3.5. I switched the other guys out for the anti-proton beams. So now we're ignoring 50% of armor, and we gain some additional shield damage, which is pretty nice. Mainly because of beam specialization, I think. And then we're using proton torpedoes for the longer range. And because we don't really need the thing from the pulse wave torpedo. Yes, the armor penetration is nice, but Shaggo went for HP builds, so I need to try and deal as much damage as possible. That's the idea behind these guys. Right, so the destroyers. Old designs using light antimatter spread and nuclear torpedoes. This is actually very bad, using the nuclear torpedoes on these, because that's not helping us at all. We've also been using solid state afterburner, and yeah, shield generators are a must. And then the off-duty rapid shield infuser. You can see these guys are doing 20.38 damage. If we go to the new one, we're almost doing 30 damage, even though I changed the station from doing damage to tactical, to engineering. Because I want my ships to be as sturdy and as tanky as possible, because we're going to have prolonged engagements with the Borg, and you really need to outlast that cube. We're going to try our best. I've put in the tracking, since these guys are not great at tracking those heavy anti-proton beams, and we're also using photon torpedoes. I basically went for the specialized section over here. We're using the heavy beam emplacement because we specialized on beams. I mean, heavy torpedo emplacement could also be a good thing. I'm not sure yet, but I kind of like my beams. They're pretty good. And yeah, obviously the ranges on these are actually very useful. 40-40 on both, so they have a unified range. That's always good. Now, the cruisers. Doing 31.26. You can see that the old cruisers are doing as much damage as my new destroyers. Using these guys again on here, and then I was going for the light pulse wave torpedo. And I've also been using fire rate upgrade for some reason, and then combat speed. In the new design, we went for the specialized heavy cruiser hull. So now we have 2 heavy beams on there with bigger range. We have no torpedoes. We have a bunch of these guys. I changed that out for weapons damage increase, and I put the tracking in there instead of the combat speed. That's an idea. These guys are very tanky, like 7,700 shields. I hope that I can boost that even further. And then 5,500 hull points and a damage of 42. That's pretty good. Battle cruisers are kind of putting out more damage, but are a little bit less sturdy, like Look at the hull points and the shields when we switch to the battlecruiser. Right, so we go down to 4,800 shields and 3,700 hull points. Now these old designs have been using the light antimatter spread and the pulse wave torpedoes, and then the weapons damage increase makes sense. We've already been using the engineering station, so these guys are way weaker in their base version. Now we're gonna go to the upgraded one, and damage jumps from 55 old version to 69 new version. We're using all these anti-proton beams now, and the photon torpedoes. We don't really have any additional section over here. But yeah, we're using the advanced engineering battlecruiser, because I want them to be as tanky as possible. These guys are going to probably be the main damage dealers in the fleet, although I'm probably going to try to build a couple more destroyers. One, because of their auras, and two, because they're not as expensive as the other guys. I mean, for what they do, they're actually pretty useful. So yeah, I hope you found this interesting and helpful, me going over my designs, and I hope you join me later tonight when we're going to be playing the next session of Clash of the Devs or Clash of the Titans.